Let's begin with lysosomal storage disorders. Lysosomal storage disorders are inborn metabolic errors which happens because of defect in lysosomal enzymes, which leads to the accumulation of their substrates. The first we will talk about is the most common lysosomal storage disorder, that is Gaucher's disease. Gaucher's disease is associated with the enzyme deficiency of beta glucosidase, and the build-up substance here is glucocerebroside. It's easy, right? So the enzyme is glucosidase and the substance which is being accumulated is glucocerebroside. Now, it is the most common lysosomal storage disorder, which is associated with enlarged liver, spleen, along with osteoporosis, avascular necrosis of the femoral head, erosion of the long bones, mental retardation. So, basically, what all you need to know in all of these clinical findings that you will see in question specifically is anything that is associated with erosions of the long bones or necrosis of the long bones. There's mentioned, for example, there's avascular necrosis of the femur, there's osteoporosis, something like this. And then further on they're going to mention about tissue paper cytoplasm or tissue paper appearance on electron microscopy. That's Gaucher disease. Then we move on to the next, which is Tay-Sachs disease. Tay-Sachs disease, the enzyme deficiency is hexosaminidase A. The enzyme deficiency is what? Hexosaminidase A. And the build-up substrate is GM2 ganglioside. Right, it is also associated with mental retardation and muscular weakness. Furthermore, what you will see in Tay-Sachs disease is cherry red spots on the macula, and on electron microscopy what you see here is onion skin lysosomes. So you're going to see onion skin lysosomes in Tay-Sachs disease, and you do not see any hepatosplenomegaly with Tay-Sachs disease. So with Tay-Sachs disease, there is no hepatosplenomegaly. There will be cherry red spots on the macula, onion skin lysosomes, mental retardation, muscular weakness, right? And the enzyme deficiencies hexosaminidase A, with the build-up substrate being GM2 ganglioside. Further on, if we move to Niemann-Pick disease, the enzyme deficiency is sphingomyelinase. It is sphingomyelinase, and the substance that is building up is sphingomyelin. It is associated with mental retardation again, but there is hepatosplenomegaly as well. Along with that, here also you're going to see the red spots on macula, and you will see zebra bodies in electron microscopy. Right, so if you want to differentiate between Tay-Sachs disease and Niemann disease, first of all, the enzymes and the built-up substrate is different, right? That's one thing. For example, them wanting to ask you the enzyme only or the build-up substrate only in the question, so how you're going to differentiate, because both of them are going to tell you about the red spots on the macula. You're going to differentiate with hepatosplenomegaly, whether there is hepatosplenomegaly or not. If there is hepatosplenomegaly, it is Niemann-Pick. Along with that, if they specifically mention the electron microscopic findings, then that becomes quite easier, right? Further, we move to Krabbe disease. Krabbe disease is associated with beta galactosidase enzyme deficiency, and the built-up substrate is galactocerebroside. So it's beta galactosidase, and the build-up substrate is galactocerebroside. It is associated with mental retardation. And specifically what you need to know is that myelin is going to be almost absent, right? So there is what oligodendrocytes are being destroyed, glob-like cells you will see in here. There will be optic atrophy, right? So this is what all you're going to see with Krabbe disease. There's one more, which is Sandhoff disease. Now Sandhoff disease is hexosaminidase A as well as B. Both the enzymes are deficient, and the accumulation is of ganglioside and globoside. So you do not have hexosaminidase A as well as B, and there is accumulation of ganglioside and globoside. It is quite similar to Tay-Sachs disease, right? We discussed above, Tay-Sachs was because of the enzyme deficiency hexosaminidase A, and the build-up was what? GM2 ganglioside. And was there any hepatosplenomegaly in there? No, there was none, right? So With Sandhoff disease, it is similar to Tay-Sachs, but there is hepatosplenomegaly, there is skeletal dysplasia, and the enzyme deficiency is also different, right? So again, you can now differentiate between Tay-Sachs and Sandhoff again, because with Tay-Sachs, you're going to see no hepatosplenomegaly, but with Sandhoff, you are going to see hepatosplenomegaly along with skeletal dysplasias, right? Further on, we move to Farber's disease and Fabry disease. Now, Farber's disease is a ceramidase enzyme deficiency, and ceramide is the one that is accumulated. It is fatal. It is associated with skeletal deformations, hoarseness, dermatitis. It's a fatal disease. But if we talk about Fabry, which is a X-linked recessive disorder. So lysosomal storage disorder usually are autosomal recessive, but X-linked recessive disease in lysosomal storage disorder is Fabry disease with the enzyme deficiency alpha galactosidase. Alpha galactosidase is deficient, and the buildup is ceramide trihexoside. It is ceramide trihexoside. It is associated with skin rashes, kidney failure, myocarditis, spider angiomas, angiokeratomas. All of these signs and symptoms is something you will see with Fabry disease. The enzyme here is, guys, remember, it is alpha galactosidase, and we studied beta galactosidase for what? For Krabbe disease, right? For Krabbe disease. And Krabbe disease, a specific thing was there was oligodendrocyte destruction, myelin is not there, optic atrophy was there, right? Now we move on to the last one, which is the metachromatic leukodystrophy. Metachromatic leukodystrophy is the enzyme deficiencies aryl sulfatase, right? Aryl sulfatase, and then the buildup substrate is 3-sulfogalactosyl ceramide. All of this blah 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 biochemistry, long names. You can remember it just by, for example, cerebroside sulfate, or if you want to know the full name, it's 3-sulfogalactosyl ceramide, and the enzyme is aryl sulfatase. It is associated with central and peripheral demyelination, ataxia, and dementia. Okay, so this was all about the lysosomal storage diseases. We will review it once again. We have Gaucher disease, which is the most common one, which is associated with erosions along the long bones. There is mental retardation, and there is hepatosplenomegaly. Characteristically, we will see tissue paper cytoplasm on the electron microscopy. The enzyme deficiency is beta glucosidase, and the accumulating substance is GM2 ganglioside. Now I will talk about Sandhoff disease, which is an enzyme deficiency of hexosaminidase A as well as hexosaminidase B. And the accumulating substance is globoside and ganglioside, which is going to show us hepatosplenomegaly, skeletal dysplasia, and it's similar to Tay-Sachs disease. So Tay-Sachs disease is enzyme deficiency of hexosaminidase A only, and there is accumulation of GM2 ganglioside associated with mental retardation, muscular weakness, blindness. There is no hepatosplenomegaly, in Tay-Sachs disease. Characteristically, there are onion skin lysosomes in electron microscopy, and we will also see cherry red spots on the macula. Further moving on, we have Niemann-Pick disease, which is sphingomyelinase enzyme being deficient and accumulation of sphingomyelin associated with mental retardation and hepatosplenomegaly. And on electron microscopy, we are going to see zebra cells, and here will also be red spots on the macula. There will be hepatosplenomegaly in Niemann-Pick, right? There will be. Then we have Krabbe disease. Now, Krabbe disease is beta glucosidase enzyme. Sorry guys. Krabbe disease is beta galactosidase enzyme deficiency. Beta galactosidase enzyme deficiency, and the accumulating substance is galactocerebroside. And it is associated with oligodendrocyte destruction, myelin destruction, glob-like cells are going to be there. There's going to be optic atrophy, right? So then we move on to Farber's disease. Farber's disease is ceramidase enzyme deficiency, and the ceramide is accumulated associated with skeletal deformations, dermatitis, hoarseness. It's a fatal disease. Fabry disease is the only X-linked recessive lysosomal storage disorder with the enzyme deficiency alpha-galactosidase. Alpha-galactosidase, accumulating substance being ceramide trihexoside, and associated with angiokeratomas, renal failures, peripheral neuropathies, hypohidrosis, spiderangiomas, right, myocarditis, skin rash, all of these. And finally, we have metachromatic leukodystrophy, which is associated with the enzyme deficiency aryl sulfatase, and the accumulating substance is cerebroside sulfatase. So that's all for today. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.